on today's episode, we are going to talk about starting and finishing. So, finishing what you start
From the starting line to the finish line, top to bottom,
from the beginning
to the end, beginning, the middle,
and the end, right? You can't just be winging it, especially if you want it to last and have substance and actually reach people with value. Like, you want to do it right. So,
what is the idea? What am I trying to get out of my head? And I think a challenge of that for me is communicating that. I feel like I'm trying to
hear yourself.
And it's like I feel like it sounds good in my head, and then when it actually is time for me to share it, I'd be like, that's not what I mean.
That's not it. Clarity and vision. And then it also gets you excited. It keeps you motivated. It keeps you going. And I just think that if I don't have a clear vision, I'm going to be dragging my feet.
So excited to have you all. And for those who do not know who we are and you're watching this for the very first time or hearing us on audio for the very first time, my name is Cheyenne Montgomery.
And I'm Tyree Montgomery.
And this is the In the Bloom of It All podcast. So,
hey.
So
on today's episode, we are going to talk about starting and finishing. So finishing what you start.
From the starting line to the finish line, top to bottom.
From the beginning
to the end. Beginning, the middle,
and the end.
That's right.
Get her done.
Get it in.
Get it done.
Yes, sir. So you talking about like the process?
Yeah, like our show.
Okay.
Why we felt like we needed to do this, and what we have been doing to see it through. Prepare, yeah. And learning through it all and seeing it to the finish, getting it done. And that's it looks different from one phase to the next. So that also I feel like applies to life.
It does. I say, so like for you, what would you say was your process before this, and then how has it changed?
For the show?
Yes.
Ooh.
Like planning and doing any other kind of work, what was your like way of doing it, and then how has that changed since doing this?
Well, I would say since you proposed the idea, for me, I think it was more like figuring out time.
Yeah.
How was I going to make time to do it? I think I was so excited that I was willing to just do whatever was necessary. But of course, you're so organized. And I reiterated on that. I'm reiterating on that because I mentioned that on another episode, but it's really true. It's definitely, I think, a strong suit for you because you organize, you plan. I do too, but I think you do it in a much more macro way. Like you really get down to the details.
I be trying to break it down because that's also how I'm able to process things. I need to visually see it, and sometimes the only way for me to do that is if I get so granular, and it can be tedious at times. It can be tedious for myself.
Yeah,
it helps.
It does, especially with something like this because I had no clue. So much went into this. Like, I know I've seen videos and I've watched other people and they talk about, get started, just get going, just do it. But if we get into the real grit of it all, like, to start something and to see it through to the finish is so huge. You got to do it right. You can't just be winging it, especially if you want it to last and have substance and actually reach people with value. Like, you want to do it right. So I think for me, the biggest thing was to block out time and get clear on our vision, because I'm just a firm believer that if you don't have vision in something, you lack clarity. And if you lack clarity, you don't know what to do first. You don't know where to start. It's easy to get distracted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just seems like you're all over the place. But we were able to sit down, look at what we wanted it to look like, write it out, and having several meetings.
Writing it out for sure. Because when you actually put pen to paper, and like sometimes for me, I know before I was like, I need to write stuff out. I can type some things, but it doesn't have the same effect as when I'm actually writing everything out and just letting my mind just flow. And then I can go back and edit and pick out the stuff that I actually like out of all the fluff and stuff that I was writing. But I need just to be zoned in and just write everything out. And like the plan kind of forms on its own after that. But it's just like, what is the idea? What am I trying to get out of my head? And I think a challenge of that for me is communicating that. I feel like I'm trying to
hear yourself.
And it's like I feel like it sounds good in my head, and then when it actually is time for me to share it, I'd be like, that's not what I mean.
That's not it.
Like, I was like, you're not seeing the vision because one, I'm not communicating it very clear, or like whatever it may be. But I'm very visual with things, and sometimes I just have to do it and then make edits and change it until it's just like, now you see the vision that I was saying. Like, I need to show you physical, then it'd be like, okay, now we can work on the actual like words and verbiage of it all to the broader audience and to everyone else. But the visual component is a huge factor in how I even start my process. If I can't see it, like you said, the vision of it, if I can't see it, it's going to be hard for me to even plan for it.
Because the vision is what ignites you. When you get a real clear vision on something, like if I could see it happening and I could see what it looked like, I can kind of like backwards engineer from there. Like, say for instance, like, ooh, I'm going on a vacation to like Mexico. Ooh, you quickly start saying, okay, I want to wear this. I'm gonna start finding my outfits. I gotta get my tickets. I gotta reserve where I'm gonna stay.
I love how outfits came before tickets. Like, you already bought the clothes before you
get excited. It's the feeling.
Like,
it's
I don't
the
even have a
vibe.
ticket yet, but I know what I'm gonna wear.
Right. And then you start thinking about everything that it's gonna take for you to put together to get ultimately to the end.
Exactly.
So I feel like that's always been my headspace in everything. Like, what is it that it's going to take for me to get there? And then you think about, I got to save for this, you know, or who's going. That will matter, you know, because you got to make sure that you accommodate enough for all the people that's going. There's all those details. So I feel like seeing things to the end really requires clarity and vision. And then it also gets you excited. It keeps you motivated. It keeps you going. And I just think that if I don't have a clear vision, I'm going to be dragging my feet.
Speaking of dragging the feet, is like, I don't know if you feel this way as well, but like when you have that vision, you see it so clearly, but the execution and like actually doing it could kind of halt the process and be like, this is not looking how I thought it was going to look, or this is not the same idea, and you just either scrap it all together, or you just start over, or you pick at it so much that it looks...
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. You're just burnt out. And I'm like, my mental creative juices depleted so fast. It was so up, and I was inspired, and now I'm like doing it, and I'm like, I didn't think it would take this much. I didn't think it would do all this. And with that too is like, I procrastinate because I have this vision, and if I don't feel like I have the tools or the resources or I've seen enough examples and like seeing other people do it to like keep that inspiration flowing, I'll end up just forgetting about it for a couple of days. And I was like, I don't know. And then I'm like, until there's like an actual deadline and putting myself on some kind of deadline, it's not going to get done.
Definitely.
I'll forget about it. I'll come back to it and feel all stressed all over again. So I feel like in some ways, procrastinating where I'm like at the last minute, I do my best work.
Yeah, what they saying, clutch?
Yeah, because I'm like, now I have no choice. I got an hour. I got like 30 minutes or one day. Like, try to make it more than 30 minutes, but at least I have this day. I need to have this done by this day. At the end of the day today, whatever I've done is what I have done. And I can at least say it's my best work because I ain't got much time to do nothing else.
And you're not thinking about all these other details. You get it done.
I just have to get her done.
Get it done. And you're not going back and forth. You're not constantly tinkering and messing with stuff because time has the most power at this moment. You got to get to the time. You got to get it done. I think another thing for us is we're able to spin off each other really well. And I think that really mattered and helped us kind of like have that accountability. That helps get it done. Because there's some times where you be like, we meeting today, and I know you probably felt that way too at some point because we've been so consistent. Where we just like, oh my gosh, but when you call and be like, you coming? I'll be like... I don't know, because I can't let you down, and we in
Yeah.
this, and it's just like, no, we committed.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna see it to the finish.
Yes.
Yes.
And like even just like the behind the scenes for y'all, like I was up here folding clothes. I had my headphones on, folding clothes, and then she was here. I said, wait a minute. Not a whole hour early, but
early.
also she knows that we chit chat before the beginning of this. We check in and we have a full on chit chat what we're gonna be talking about, what's happening during our week and our lives and stuff that we didn't check in about. And then we'd be like, weren't we supposed to record?
An hour ago.
An hour early. I said, oop, now we finishing on time because we checked in. We did a little chit chat already, so then we can focus the rest of our energy onto actually doing the project. But a lot of times, like, life is still lifing. Stuff is still going on, but we are both still passionate and very involved and want to deliver something that's beyond us. Like, this is not just for us to do, but it's something that we genuinely want to share with everyone else that's watching as well and listening. Don't forget the listeners. Y'all listening as well.
I have really locked in on that. Like, to be so serious. Yeah. Like, this is so much bigger than me. Like, I am at a place now where everything that I do, like, even before I got here, I was telling you, I am praying to God to speak through us, use us as a vessel. I want him to be the center and the foundation of it all, to guide us continuously through this process. Because what I've learned is I can come up with a million ideas and come up with all kind of things to do. I think I'm pretty resourceful. I think I've learned quite a few things at this point. And I can integrate all of those. But I don't want to just lean on what I know and just trust in myself, because it has only gotten me so far. Yeah. What I know is that God will expand it and make it have greater reach and make it very purposeful. We're still learning that because we're in the beginning phases of this. We don't know where it's going to go, how it's going to touch people, who it's for. We have an idea of that, but what that really look like in the grand scheme of things is still not clear. So I just feel like I'm locked into just doing it, going with the flow, staying committed, showing up, and I'm excited, so excited to see where it's going to go. Yeah. Because I know it's going to go. I don't know how. That's none of my business. That's God's business, but I'm going to show up. And that's why I stay excited, because it's kind of a mystery. Yeah. But we know it's for good purpose. And also the fact that we've kept it on the hush. Yeah. We haven't said anything. There's been no input. And I would recommend this to anybody. If you have a project that you're passionate about, one that you know that is purposeful, it's not that you can't tell people, but I think our decision to not has really kept me locked in, because I'm not getting all this input from people. I'm not questioning things. We locked into the vision. Yeah. We committed to the task, and there's no input.
And it puts more of like trust and like dependence on each other to like come up with that creative vision, and for it to be solely ours. Yeah. And it's not like it's influence from somewhere else. Yeah. It's something that me and you have decided on, me and you have worked through, and it's something that we've touched and put hands on every single bit of things. Right. And it's not like, oh, well, so-and-so said this and this might work better. And like, we'll find out on our own. Like we'll get there when we get there. And it takes a lot of the pressure off to do this so organically. And it's just like, we're going to fumble a little bit. We're going to figure this out. There'll be some bumps and stuff. At the end of the day, it's something that me and you can confidently say that we put our best efforts into, and we did it together.
Absolutely. And I think we've worked on other things before, and you can see where, individually, because we haven't done like a project like this before, but where when you share with other people, you get to really see how people will have their own reservations and fears and ideas. And if you really value that person in your life, whether if it's a friend or whatever, they might feel like they're trying to protect you by saying, oh, I wouldn't do this, or oh, I wouldn't do that. And then based on that level of influence that person has on you, you might be like, oh, might consider some of those things. This is my season to do this. I feel it. Yeah. And I can't allow anything to get in the way. And I just want to see it through, and I'm just excited about it. And I want to stay here. I like it here.
And I was like, I don't I didn't also like part of it keeping a secret was just also to build up the anticipation for ourselves. It's like keeping that excitement for a while, like letting that excitement
Yeah.
just be and keeping it
Like
fun. Yeah, just nurturing it for a
excitement.
little and just be keeping it on a hush. Like, but at the same time, it's like not everyone needs their opinion on it. Like, and also I say that too, just with your any ideas you may have or your dreams that you may have. There are times where someone else's opinion could help you and help launch you even further and build, help you with that confidence to really just like actually do it. And then there's others where it's just like, I didn't need to hear that. Like that kind of tainted my joy a little bit to this experience. And by protecting that space and protecting what we're building and still sharing it in the end, I think it really still nurtured the excitement
Absolutely.
and help us to create and fail and make mistakes along the way in our own like private space.
Because we're not opposed to wisdom.
No.
But when you're just getting started on something, it is definitely a baby. It's budding, you know, into a bloom. So you got to like really take care of it and yourself, because I would be lying to say that I wasn't nervous.
Yeah.
You
I was
know,
nervous too.
and when you're nervous and you're trying to, I mean, personally, I feel like that was even more confirmation that it's something we needed to do, because I didn't feel super confident. Like, I got this, I could do this. You know, it was more like, whew, I'm gonna have to lean on God to see me through this, because this is unfamiliar territory. I haven't been here before. And I think there's a level of responsibility when you're putting yourself out there, especially just being a mom, protective, like making my social media public. To me, I took it off of that years ago because there was feedback and comments and stuff, and I'm like, my children's pictures are on here and stuff like that. You know, like there was things to think about going forward. It's like you really got to plan how this is going to show up down the line. How is it going to reflect my husband and my kids, and I'm mom.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, all of that.
And like doing this, I mean, for those who've started their own business or done anything of that nature in the past or are still on that journey themselves, this takes a lot of work. It does take a lot of planning, and it does take some of the pressure off when you are doing it with someone else. We've both tried to succeed in different things of our own, and there'll be times where I'm just like, I don't know how to do this by myself. There's too many components, or there's so many things where it's like a learning curve, and you're learning that all for the first time. And I was like, doing my own podcast, I was just like, I'm by myself and I have no one to talk to. Like, I was enjoying it. I was passionate about it, but I was like, I gotta come up with the topics, the socials, everything. Like, I gotta edit. Like, there's so many things that you have to do on your own. This is not easy, but if it's something that you believe in, it's something that you prayed about, you'll get the answers you need to succeed. Just because you start something, you may have a few bumps in the road, doesn't mean that you're not getting closer and closer to your finish line, or even moving that post a bit, adding more goals and things in between. But I've started and stopped a few things because I didn't feel like I had enough tools, or I let social media and other opinions interfere. And I was just like, okay, I shouldn't do this anymore. When in reality, I probably just should have kept trying.
And let's talk about that. The whole comparison thing. I mean, it's real. I'm sure everybody has.
It's a very natural thing to do. You naturally compare.
Because we're all inspired by something or someone. And I think what initiates you to go after it or to do something is because you're inspired by something. And I think what keeps you going is getting clear on why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Some people, I believe, you're doing it because you got something to prove. And I think that can be a motivation for people for the good. And sometimes I could think it'd be a distraction at some point, you know? Some people do it because they have something to lose. So you either have something to prove or something to lose. It's just like, I got to do this because this is what you believe is going to change your situation or get you into a better place or get you the exposure that you need or to help you. In my case, when I have a fear, it's like I'm going to go after that thing head on because I don't want to be bound by any fears. Um, so yeah, I definitely feel like you can get caught up in comparison. You can get to looking at what somebody else is doing because they seem to be doing it so well.
Yeah.
And you just feel like, oh, I couldn't do that. I can't do that. But I saw a podcaster that I used to watch years ago. He started way back in the day. He was saying how if your first few episodes are crap, you're not doing something
You
right.
gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
But starting. The whole point is start it. Like, you're gonna start from somewhere. It may not be like other people's finished product that took them weeks, months, years to get to, but start it anyway. Like, even if things are tough, even if you don't know all the things, if you don't have all the tools, all the software, all the nice equipment, like, just start anyway. Because you'll get more confidence in yourself and what you are trying to achieve in your vision.
Right.
Rather than if you started and like it didn't look right and then you quit.
Right.
You didn't even let it flourish. You didn't even let it bloom. You didn't even try.
Right.
Like, try it anyway. I'm very much of like, they can always say no. You can do it anyway, but they can always say no. And if they say no, so what? No is not the worst thing. And being okay with the no's that come along.
It could be for your benefit. It's just not no. It's no.
Right now. Yeah. Like, no for them.
Me,
no right now. It could be for later.
Or I don't know. I'll check back later.
But not letting that stop me from trying things and things that I feel excited about or just curious about. Like, it don't even have to be fully excited and just going head on, but just something I was like, how does this work? Let me see. Let me just try it.
Right.
And if I don't like it, I don't like it. But if I do, then that's something that I wouldn't have known if I didn't even start it. You have to start. I
think that comes with maturity too, because what I cared about maybe 5-10 years ago, I do not care about now. And where I am now, I'm more in a space of like, I know what's for me is for me. I keep touching the mic. I know you look like, get your hand off the mic. I know what is for me is for me.
Yeah.
And I think it took for me to get to this season to be so vulnerable and so open to where I know this is going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm speaking life over it. And the reason why it's going to be great has everything to do with me submitting to the process, not trying to control every little thing, not caring about every little detail. It's so exhausting and such a waste of time when the reality is you have to grow through the process.
Yeah.
You're going to start off on a ground that's not going to feel very sturdy. But as you learn over time, you make the adjustments, you move forward, and you keep pacing yourself, giving yourself grace. It's okay to be human. How about that? Let's humanize ourselves again, okay? We are online, or you see people online. Everybody is going through real life, doing the best that they can. And I truly believe what that person's best is has nothing to do with me. Whereas before, I felt like it was a standard that I had to be able to have all this stuff in place. Even, for example, with my business, in website design, people come to me and they want the best of the best of websites because they're looking at what other businesses are using. But they're on a shoestring budget sometimes. Yeah. So I like to be the good guy and let them know, yeah, I could be setting them up with this grando website that probably won't even be for them until like their 5th year in business. In the beginning, ma'am, sir, all you need is doom, doom, doom. You don't need all of that. I'm going to tell you what you need because the reality is you're going to get there. And if you get all of this stuff in the beginning, you're not even going to know what to do with it because you're still learning, you know? So don't cheat yourself by going and spending all of this money up front when you don't even know how to use 10% of the things that is required. So it's just like, take your time. So I look at this platform and where we are the same. We're starting where we are, and we hope that we can help other people do the same. Start where you are. This is the process. You know, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, but planning goes into that. And just being on your own timing. Like, we planned this started, what was it, in January?
January, yeah.
And just meeting and just doing bits and pieces over time. And we're still learning, you know.
I think another aspect of planning is creating realistic goals for yourself. And not saying you can't shoot for the moon and have this really huge goal, but do you have steps to get there? Like you can have this goal and then just like that's the goal. Okay, but how are you working towards it?
Right.
And is it realistic for you? Not saying you have to limit yourself, but if you're telling us I got to do this 10 times a day, is that realistic for your lifestyle, where things are at, for your finances, wherever it may be? Make it realistic. Maybe you can do it 3 times a day and work your way up.
Right.
Try to add 4 and then go back down. Or, like making it to like, are you at least checking something off? Are you doing something? Something done is better than doing nothing. A lot of the times for me, I'm like, if I can make my bed every single day, that is one thing I know I did right by the end of the day. That is one thing I know I confidently like completed and was successful. So no matter what, if I went to work or go somewhere else and I just feel like I just didn't have a really good day, I didn't get anything done, I was not productive, I made my bed. I can give myself a bed. I at least did that.
It hit different when you get in your bed after you made it.
Yes, a nice made bed. You come back, the sheets all nice and fluffed and stuff. Like I at least did this. So that means I can go to sleep and wake up and be like refreshed and be okay. But something so simple can make a huge impact over the rest of the project or whatever you're doing. But you did it. You completed it.
Yeah.
And that also just builds up encouragement in yourself. At least I can complete what I start. Even if it's as simple as just making your bed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm excited because we started.
Yeah.
And like you said, sometimes you could do something as simple as making a bed. We've done a lot so far, getting started and moving forward. And I think that what that shares with our audience, or those who are watching, is that if we could start and move forward to where we are and figure things out as we go and do the research, do your due diligence, make sure that you plan and just take your time day by day. Yes, give yourself deadlines, give yourself expectations to complete certain things. You can do it, whatever it may be. And I keep referencing back to when I had started my business. I didn't have all the parts. I literally just started off with getting to the word out that I can help people. I didn't have no logo. I didn't have my business registered. I didn't have nothing in place. But what I found is over time, the things that were asked of me, I went off and created it. And it was like a reality to me, like, dang. They were just like, we're going to need an invoice for you. I'm like, invoice? Let me go look that up real quick. Like, oh, Terry, want to put your logo on the logo? I don't know. Then I went off and make the logo, like just stuff like that. Like it's okay to start where you are. You will get there if it's meant to be. You gonna figure it out. Just start where you are and keep going. And even when stuff come up, because we've had things come up, and we had to
being flexible.
Being
flexible. Like you can have such a set vision. Going back to the whole aspect of having a vision, but being flexible, things change. We cannot foresee the future. We cannot predict everything. You can also overplan and just overthink the whole thing.
My
and that could also like be paralyzing. So like that could paralyze you because like, oh my gosh, I overthought and I'm thinking about all these scenarios, and then you just don't do anything. You don't know how to move forward. So,
or you give up too soon because it just seems like it's too much.
This rocky patch I just can't get over, and you end up stopping. And it's just like, well, that pushes you. That's challenging. That's growth, and you'll know how to handle it in the future if it comes up again. But yeah.
And thinking about lifing and stuff coming up, and we have to keep reconfiguring things. It goes back to, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why do we want to do this? Because I'm not going to stay in it if I don't really have a clear vision as to why. And it has to be enough to make me move, And getting clear on that, it allows you to go back to it. You're not coming up with a new reason each time. No, it's the same one, and staying committed to that, whatever that may be for you. Just remind yourself when things get rough or it gets tough, or like coming home from work and you're tired, or not feeling good, under the weather, real stuff are happening,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to switch it up. Being flexible, because you can be like, oh, we was gonna do this. You
Yep.
get excited about getting this done, and then it just seems like a monkey wrench has been thrown in everything. No, life happens. That's real life. How do we navigate that? How do we keep going despite of? There's no throwing in the towel. There's no good. We've committed to each other.
Mm-hmm.
This is not just my vision. And even if you solo and you don't have someone that you are also partnered with, you committed to giving what it is that you have within you. Because we all have something that we're giving. And you're not doing it just for you, it's bigger than yourself. And you have to make it bigger. You have to. Because otherwise, we quietly can just tap out.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Mm-mm.
Right?
Yeah.
So you need some accountability.
So this podcast, and I'm going to say it here now, we are committed not only to each other, but it is bigger than ourselves. And we've said that so many times, that this is not just a message that we want to share between each other and just to keep it in between ourselves, but to show it to everyone else. And whoever may need to hear this, whoever may been experiencing something very similar, this message is for you. Not only is it just for us.
Absolutely.
And we'll want to continue to do that, because that is like the main purpose. That is our goal, is to just continue to share our stories and just hope that it touches someone.
Absolutely. Because if you think about it, when you're, well, someone told me this. Um, when you're feeling down, or if you're going through something and it's just hard for you to bounce back, go serve somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Go pour into somebody else. Go, I don't know, donate, or your time, volunteer your time. Go sow into somebody else. And what you'll find is we are creatures of just giving, service, sharing love. And when you do that, somehow it just picks you back up. It's like a level of gratitude, like, dang, you feel good about helping somebody else. So that's how I look through us sharing our story. And um, these episodes is a form of giving. So,
yeah. Well, in the aspect of giving, we hope we gave you all some gems, some ways to bloom, and some ways to heal today. And overall, just want to just say thank you. Thank you for spending time with us. Remember, healing is hard work, and you're never on this journey alone.
And until next time,
have faith
and keep blooming.